color club and talk to people what's going on. Kolomalsi, Nidishinzi Wasirawa, Enda, Mamma Shishwana, GIE Mohican, Bowler, Wisconsin, Mohican, the Honorable Maya Tafwach, Wach, Mach. Yeka, Bernice Miller, Wach, Nocha, Arbor, Senior. Quiet Shishwanako. First of all, I'd like to say I'm Nijit Shelley and to Chief Redhawk for inviting me to this conference and asking me to speak. And I'd like to apologize to my elders. I'm standing here speaking before them. Although I'm getting up there. Sometimes I look out the audience and I'm going to get elders to apologize, but as long as Glenn's here, we're okay. I'm an enrolled member of the Stockbridge Muncie Band of Mohican Indians of Wisconsin. Originally, our group of people was out on both sides of the Mahikani Cup, which is now called Hudson River. I have Mohican, Delaware, Muncie, Pequot, Montauk, Narragansett, and ancestors. I have 4 children. 3 are living. I have 10 grandchildren. 1 of those is a great-grandson of these 2. In my community, many of the young people call me Auntie, and I'm very proud of it. I know who I am. I am one of over 200 descendants of my parents, and they're both mine. My interest in the culture and the language and our history began way back in the 2nd grade, my earliest memory. Because I don't think kids really know their history before that, and we don't know what we are, or we don't care. We're just human beings, and then we get interested in who we are. And by the 4th grade, I remember asking the teacher if I could, somewhere I must have seen a roundheads, or we had a record, that's what it was, we had a 45, and it had a roundhead song on it. And I asked my teacher if we could demonstrate that. So I put a roundhead record, and she let us go practice in another room, got the little record player out, took a minute and did the demonstration, and I put one of the girls in the class, and she said, "Is that all there is? Is that what you've been practicing?" And the shame just came over me. Because it was the only thing I knew. And it was important to me. I can remember asking Mom and Dad, well, how come we don't have any beaver? Or how come we don't have any dance outfits on? How come we don't have anything like that? And my dad was in Native politics all my life. He was the chairman of our tribe for 26 years. We traveled all over the country. So like maybe a month later, I got a pair of Navajo moccasins and a silver bracelet. Still not my specific culture, but at least he was hearing my plea for identity. In 1964, we had our first powwow ever on our reservation in Wisconsin. And it was the grand welcoming event or whatever of the Great Lakes Speaker Tribal Council, which put all the other tribes in the state of Wisconsin into a big organization. My dad was also very involved in that. I was 12. Didn't know how to dance. Scared to death of the water. And didn't. Didn't know how. I thought it was really cool when I was native, but I wasn't making a fool of myself. He said there's a really good dancer out there checking me out. When I was 15, a cousin of mine moved home from Chicago. And guess what she brought from Chicago? Culture, powwow dancing, great outfits, knowledge of other tribes. She got me into the powwow. She and her brother were dancers, traditional dancers. And she helped to spark the interest for all of us young people in the community. From that time forward, I learned a lot more. Didn't embrace all of it. I was busy being, as my first husband told me, a white girl, because I was a cheerleader in FHA and business club and everything school could be. Sunday school teacher, we talked about being going to Sunday school. I was confirmed as a Sunday school teacher and a Lutheran, because we were all Protestant, most all of us Protestant. I got married at 18 years old to a full-blood Menominee Potawatomi Native man. And it was during this time that my family started to attend powwows and to dance, and I did the intertribals in my street clothes. I think that was all thing. But I had an opportunity to meet and listen to stories from many traditional elders, and I discovered that the tribe shared many things in common. I also learned about alcoholism, but I also learned how many stories we get out of those people when they're sitting around drinking. So I learned a lot. Still learning from them alcoholics, only they're sober now. From another cousin who was half Oneida, I learned more about the longhouse. And through conversations, and then eventually we had Frank Speck's big house ceremony, Slush Bear, read that, began to research anything I could find. And even prior to this, when I was 18, we started our own museum in the community. I think I wrote 2 speeches and I was saying that was part of it. We had a house fire when I was still in high school, and it was soon after my father passed away. That was all year being 15. And Mom was so worried about watching our house go up in flames, and all Dad's papers were in the house. Because we had no tribal office or anything like that back then. And the neighbors had broken windows out the back of our home, dad's files, everything we had out the back. So that's when they decided we need a museum. We need a place so that this would never happen. So that's how the museum started. And then my elders started going out east. They've been out here many times, gathering information, gathering any written records they could find on our people. And always doing it in their soul. I've been out here a few times to Albany, Stockbridge, New York. I guess I'm not filling in our history, but after we started on the Hudson, we ended up being Albany, and Skodak Island was our last traditional fireplace. We ended up in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, hence the name Stockbridge means the men who were Indians. And that was a mission. So we were, we've all got that same history, but we were Christianized real early. And then this is the group that held together and went to the other side of New York, Oneida territory, then to Indiana, where we were supposed to be living with the Delaware on the White River, and the land got sold before we even got there. Then we went to the east side of Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin, and the west side of the lake in Wisconsin, and then the Fox River, and to where we are now, where we have been displaced from one half of the West to the other. So I have completed a time circle. See, I could have brought a graphical one. And because my aunt doesn't believe in timelines, so I made a time circle. And it shows 7 or 8 moves of our people until we ended up there. And we always knew, and we were always taught that everybody didn't come. Some of you don't. So that's why it's more easy to accept that there are people out here, because we were always taught that. So people stayed behind in the area until the groups, whatever, come. Joined other tribes. Okay, out of history. Back to learning about our historical committee was in existence back when I was 18, but I was having babies, having fun, doing all things young people do. But it was probably when I was about 25 that I got really interested more in the language and wanted to know all I could. I had some stuff in the house. I had pictures, but it became clear to me that we needed to know our language and our culture, not just the history, not just where we came from, but we needed to know more. So it was in the 70s that this same cousin that's half Oneida and I attended the National Indian Education Conference in Buffalo, New York. And on our return trip home, we traveled across Ontario to stop at Muncie Town. And Hannah Aiken is where we stopped. She had visited our community a few years before, and I really didn't pay that much attention to my area. And there I got my first Indian name. Let's see if I can remember it. How about Quancy? She who talks a lot. And it's through the rest of my story, you will find out that Hannah Aiken was Bishop's grandmother. So it's small and how we all connect. We also met it's really cool. We felt an immediate kinship in the community there, and I do here too. And maybe I look like someone from your community. We all look alike, you guys. We're all family. And we feel that when we go to Moravian Town, when we go to Muncie. We see our own relatives and other people. In fact, I have, my great-great-grandmother does come from Moravian Town, so I have a direct connection there. But, some tribal members went to Ontario to begin to document the language. Again, I was not that in tune to things going on, but I did make a trip up there for a few days. I didn't absorb a lot of it, but I wanted it, but I wasn't committed to it. In 1981, I went back to college as an adult learner, 2 kids in total, and I was 28 years old. And that summer, I took Spanish. I was in there 2 days, and the teacher said, "Marlene, what are you doing in this class?" "I'm learning foreign language." There's high school kids in there that had 2 or 3 years of Spanish in high school. I didn't. He asked me something, "El nervioso, Marlene," and I said, "Yeah." I didn't say, "See." I said, "I don't belong in here." I said, what do you want to do for language? So what I really want to do is learn my own language. So that's what sparked it. Credit. Was it college credit that made me study harder? I don't know. But worked it out. Went to Canada. Spent the summer with Emily Johnson, who was my first teacher. She was the first language speaker. Happened she was teaching a summer youth group at Muncie, so I worked with her all day and sort of her assistant, but I was also there. We get into pronunciation issues, so those of you that were nervous about using the words. Got into pronunciation issues. I get into them with Glenn because Emily taught me this way and that way. He says it different. Except Emily was popped in nitroglycerin pills 6 times a day, which was close to the end of her life, and so she probably forgot. And that could be true of any of the recordings that we have of the elders, or how people heard things. I took phonetics. I went to a linguistics class, and he said, "What are you doing here?" I had no knowledge of linguistics. I said, "Well, I'm going to Canada this summer. I'm going to spend the summer." And he said, "What do you want to do with that language?" "I want to learn to speak it." He said, "Well, then I suggest you go to phonetics." So I took phonetics to learn how to watch lips and mouth and all that. So that's how it began. That was in 80, I don't know. Well, that was in 80, because I was 7 months pregnant. Maria's going to have a Canuck, they kept telling me I was going to have a Canuck child. Well, I tell my story as funny as it was. In summer 82, I loaded up my 2 children in my VW micro minivan with summer provisions. And you know those little VW wagons? They have all kinds of little compartments. Mine was full of cigarettes. I used a modified universal phonetic alphabet, what I had learned in that one semester of phonetics. That would serve my needs, and my need was to be able to pronounce words when I got back home, because there was no one that spoke the language. Something Bruce said this morning made me think of when we talked about learning through the culture was one of the things that stuck with me the most was learning family relationships. I live in a state where there are 11 different tribes. Well, 6 of them are Ojibwe, but different bands. And Ho-Chunks, who have a very intricate clanship system that is still in existence. And Oneidas and Potawatomis. And so I know, I had seen a presentation on the cultural clanship system. And when I went out there, I found out from the language that I had little moms and little dads. And from that come uncles' responsibilities for discipline of their children, plus respect. But it was their job to discipline those kids. And those things exist in our community and they exist in our families. I don't know where from. It just helped to put, sometimes it takes somebody from the outside too to help you see that we have a native way of doing this. We thought we had lost all our culture, but words were said. But it's all alive there. Just, we might have lost the words for it. All right, guys, I should have stayed outside so long here lunch. My summer in Canada when I returned that fall, my son was born. He was born in October. One of his very first words he ever learned was truck. And that's exactly how he said it, with a gut up. So tell me babies don't learn what they understand. And he always pushed me with language, all of his short life. Mom, come on, we gotta learn this. Mom, come on, we gotta study this. He even wrote a couple of curriculum units for me because he wanted to teach. This was like when he got to be 13. During this time, I don't remember when we went to Pequot. Remember what year that was? There was a language conference in Foxwoods, and it just happened. I work in the casino industry, and so most of our meetings are in some other casino. And this was back to back with something I found a way to get there. So I went to this language conference, learned a lot of things there, and then a young man named Bruce Stonefish, who I'd heard of. He's my sister's known him since he was a baby. And I introduced myself to him, he kind of brushed me off. I thought, Harvard. So we're later on, I said something to him later. I remember what I said to him, and he kind of looked at me. And a little while later, you're sitting in class, and Bruce is sending me notes. Went to the Bequamish, Sakute, Pambia, and I know what he meant. He's looking for toilet paper. So I was teasing Bruce, and that's my Bruce Stonefish story. He was too cool for this old lady. He really found out I could speak a little bit. And he talked to me. And I find that true of all those Marine tongue men. They're too cool, aren't they? It's on their time on their schedule. A couple of years later after that, I received notification from Bruce in the first Lenape Teachers Academy training, and I found a way hell or high water because it was a good tuition cost. I don't work in this. I don't have funds for this. This is just all through these years, just been doing it on my own. Get our best, get tired, have conflicts in the community while we're learning Lenape, and then I just give up. So when this came, it was the boost that we needed in our community. Year one, my nephew Joe Pico with me. We voiced our concerns that without good recordings, we weren't going to remember what they taught in that class, even though we had the booklet. So I went back to our historical society, given a gift from one of the professors where I went to college to do different things with history. And they granted a grant to get Bruce and Glenn over there, and we recorded that first session. We went into the recording studio in the woods, which is in the middle of my community, and we got it on that 3 CD set if somebody would like to have that. At the next academy, year 2, another young woman in my community member wanted me to picked it up really fast. Year 3, Ariel went with me, my niece, who's now Glenn's granddaughter. He spoils her rotten. And the 4th year, we brought it to Wisconsin. So, and we're trying to do it again this year, but we need to scrape up some more money. That was the big change for me, for my community, and for the acceptance, because we now have a master teacher. And Bruce is right up there, but he's still confirmed. And Glenn has been brought to the community a few times. We've done a workshop with this, I don't know, we have like 20 or 30 in the class, eh? And we did that for a couple of days. And I do a language encampment, outside encampment for families. And I don't babysit anybody's kids. So they have to come with their parents or an auntie or an uncle or some adult that's responsible for them, because they're not going to chase the kids down. And I got kids from 1 to 60. 65, 70 coming, dropping in camp. Some come to eat, some come and stay for a session or 2. And I'd say a core group of 30 stays for the whole 2 days. And you can bring in Glenn in, and he teaches, I teach, we have some of the other young people, we do a craft. It's a vacation Bible school, eh? They get to go swimming, so we do it outside on the river. And then our Paula starts on Friday. So we're going to do it again this week. And that just all fits in real well. I'm adding a new class this year called My Regalia's Not Done, so you can work on it while we're learning. It's stop sign, Gila, is that it, Gila? We're gonna start doing things. We have streets named. Now this is a good story because we have one village named Atoa and one village named Koikan. And my sister's kind of been studying language too, and she has herself convinced that Atoa means place of the deer, but it really means deers. Whole bunch of deer. But in Stockbridge, Wisconsin, it means place of the deer. So we've changed the language. Koikan is the place of the cows. But one of the guys that lives on that road calls it Cow Pine Lane. So that's how language changes, you know, the humorous use of it. Some of the council members have even learned enough to pray. Anishi Kishalamo. Thank you, Creator, for giving me this name. It's a short prayer, but it's a beginning, and they're using it. Recently, we got a grant from the state of Wisconsin. Teaching in the school, I do a 2-night after school, and when Bruce gave his presentation, I just felt so right about it. Because we're not doing the booklets, we're doing the medicine. We're in staff. From day one, they started crafting their own medicine wheels, learning the colors for each direction, the animal that represents each direction, the season for each direction, the direction itself, and the season. And so they're making these while we're learning the words. While we're here, tomorrow they have to make a presentation in front of the powwow in the community. And I know they're not ready, so I said, well, you can use your cheater cards. So they took their medicine wheels and put paper on the back, most of the paper, and then they got their cheater sheet right on the back. So, because I don't want them to be embarrassed, I don't want them to feel like they're not doing good. I don't want to leave them in your, just feeling inadequate, but they're smart, they'll do it, they do good. And there's a few things they don't know, and I still can't say about them. Patch Akia. And I'm missing a patch. What? Chuk? He's laughing. Anyway, it's a big long word. I'm still working. But one of the kids that also learning songs, we sing Tawa Shelly, Tawa Shelly. They learned that song, and Jeremy has created one of our other young men who's not been to any formal education, but he picks the language up like that. He's what you call an internet learner. He's teaching them a song on a hand drum, how to count to 10, with all the choreography drummers start beginning part, that way call it. So he's going to be singing that. So that's what the presentation is to the community, and that's the way we're evaluating it. But I have that dancer rubrics, so we're using that for it. Because we have to, we have a funding agency, we have to do things and report back. The second grant application just went in yesterday, and that'll be for a full year. And I teach a summer school class in public school. Now, many of you probably do not live on a reservation, and know what it's like to work in a public school that basically like you. But we are now 43% of the population in that school is Native. We have no one, we have 1% of the school. But I mean, it's just been a struggle. All of a sudden, the doors open up, and the arms open up. Not everybody, but we've got some people in the administration. And so we're going to have this summer school program, a class all around. I'm not teaching it, Joe Picor's teaching it, because I have to work. But we're going to bring in, we'll be co-taught with a certified teacher from the school, and we'll be bringing in experts. And we have Willie Picas from Oklahoma, he's an expert moldmaker, so we're going to have Willie come over and do that. And we've got one of the girls in the community who will help with making skirts while the guys are making bows. In the public school system, everything's supposed to be open to whoever wants to go. So we're separating the boys from the girls, oh my God. But yeah, we have no word for gender or language, but we have a culture that says the boys make the bows. So those are issues you gotta deal with too. I've also just put in a grant in the ANA, under the Esther Martinez initiative. That one will be 2 years of curriculum development, working in cooperation with the College of Menominee Nation. The Menominee tribe is indigenous to Wisconsin. They're a large tribe. They have a community college, and it happens that the president is part of it, so that helps too. And they've developed their curriculum. They still have first language speakers in it. They have a great language program going. The first 2 years will be developing curriculum for K through 3 first, and then through 12, using their expertise and all of the materials that I could possibly get from Bruce and Glenn, and adapting it for our community. And in the third year, I'm hoping to have a master apprenticeship program so we can create teachers. And that's where I have to steal right away in Wisconsin, but you know how long it took you to get a commitment for the conference here? We're talking 3 years from now, so I'm working on it now. And we put one into a Learn and Serve grant. I can't even think of what that. It's a federal grant though, and in that one we will pair, if we get any of this thing, we will pair 2 students in 6th through 8th grades with an elder. Another job for that first 6 months is just to get to know their elder, develop a strong relationship, and be visiting them. All the while they're visiting them, getting to know them, and doing whatever that elder asks them to do, whether it's take the garbage out, shovel the sidewalk, change the light bulb, reach something they can't reach higher up in the house. They're also interviewed, but I don't want them going in there with a piece of paper and a pen and a set of questions. To talk about this whole historical trauma issue, losing language, losing culture. I don't even say ours is all boarding school. Ours started way before. But yeah, I guess it was. The John Sargent Mission in Stockbridge was a boarding school. It started there. And then, of course, the loss of that dissemination from the wars and the diseases and all the things that happened to our people in the moves. So that's what I want them. They're not interviewing for other reasons. We do have a video project with our elders just talking about growing up and things like that. This is going to be specific to culture, language, loss. And then after they've established this relationship, at some point I wanted to videotape. But the trust has to be built there. Now mind you, this is our own kids with their own elders. And we're going to take our time doing this because that's cultural specific. When we have people that come from the outside and want to come in and interview people, that's so uncomfortable. Look at how far ahead of drinking, just get them to get in a picture. Because they're not, you just can't do that to them. And I'm making them learn this process. Then in the second year, they're going to provide for their elders in a different way. They're going to hide a garden, they're going to fish, they're going to hunt, and they have to follow different things in today's society, which is they got to go to hunter safety class if they haven't had it. And I'm going to have some of the, like the game wardens and the guys in the community that are hunters to go with them. They may not all get a deer, but if they get a deer, they're going to share it and take some to their elders. They're going to maybe cook for them. Let's see, fish garden, they'll provide for them. So this is a 2-year project. In the third year, we start over with 20 new kids and 10 new elders. So I'm hoping we get that funded because the other things that were served by that learning center are pretty innovative, like making a quilt. If you can get funded to make a quilt, you get funded for this. So a lot of things going on. Just because I got this little money, consultant money now from the state grant, so that I can spend some time doing this. As time goes on, I realize that the young people are probably going to be the ones that are going to be really doing the teaching, and I'm more the one that gets stuff done and organizes and schedules. But I do like writing curriculum. So I think I have got you to where we are in Stockbridge, our camp. Chief Bob Redhawk does come up. He's visited our camp 2 years in a row, he and his wife. Always with those cookies, I like that. I'm hoping to have a teacher academy in July, but we gotta find that money to complete it. Because I put some money in there so that as part of this year's grant was professional development part for 1.5 days for teaching public school teachers of some basic language and culture, so that they can greet our kids when they come in the door, so they can know when they're talking about what they've been taught in summer school and what they've been taught, are going to be taught, and what they've learned in the after-school program. The other component of after school that we haven't finished yet is we're going to be talking about values. And that's going to be probably the basis of a lot of things I want to teach is the values of respect. When I told the teachers that when we had our meeting, that goes both ways, folks. Not just kids have to respect you, you have to show them some respect too. But I've got teenage grandsons, and I can see what they must go through in school. Even inappropriateness of that age, how boys, their minds are swimming only in one direction. And the little one, he's 12, he said, Grandma, did you read that? Yes, I know I did. Then I'll just go on talking. So it's some of that, and then it's unfair. It seems like kids think everything is unfair. And just the pressures of life, and growing up on a reservation. We're a very big family. All love each other, and then we all fight. And we have factions, and we even have this with the language. And you will hear one of my tribal members, maybe if he gets here. He speaks good English. Well, there's one coming in there. Hi, Chris. We had tornado weather. I'm glad I got out of town. No, that's Curtis. He's working on the Mohican language, and that's another whole part of our story and why we have the conflict in the community. Yes, we are the remnants of we are the Mohican people, but the language is no longer, it hasn't been spoken since the early 30s. We have a lot of written documents. I spent a lot of time looking at that stuff and read. I couldn't pronounce it, I couldn't read it, I just got frustrated. And I did tell those young men a long time ago, one of you is going to pick that up. Maybe you can figure it out, but I'm going to go with where I know it's spoken. I'm going to learn from speakers. So I know that I'm learning the right language. Then we can figure out the old Mohican, because it's basically dialect, differences. So there's been some of the battles, but I kind of hear that from everyone I've been talking to. In each community, we have dialect arguments. And I just say, why don't we all learn the same language and talk to each other? And that's each of us to get to it. I brought you a little bit of Wisconsin. Jeez! So, do you have any questions?
How receptive are the teachers, the public school teachers in this teacher academy to, do you feel like you have to fight them in order to gain legitimacy, or is it?
We have to pay them. Some will. There are a few that are just, there's just nothing you can do for them. They're like they are. But I think some of them are very interesting. We have a fourth grade curriculum that was written in interactive learning. And we did do a workshop last year. We're repeating it again this year and expanding to 2 other school districts. They were very receptive to that. And we had some students from the UW system who were our teachers, were learning to be teachers, and they helped us with that. It was a very moving experience, very moving. And we talked about our goals. And one of the curriculum units was to give, we broke them up into groups and gave them some linking lots and some, what do you call it? Lego stuff. And somebody else had another medium, and they were to build their little villages. Well, they'd start getting them built, just you can see that they pretty much get settled and move. Can't take nothing with you, just move. And then they go to another station and they start building their communities again and getting it all ready. The leader would say, move. It was just so frustrating to them. And it must have been what it was like for our people. And we picked up this Christianity and the farming, and we tried to be like the Europeans so that we wouldn't lose our land. It wasn't so much that we wanted to be like them. Which reminds me of a story I've heard that some people come out of the Ojibwe, is that there was a decision made way out east here, that we would, okay, you guys have to try that European and see if it would be better for our survival. And like they discussed it, they said, if it doesn't work out, we'll keep your culture. And we know that in the lawn house, they have some of our Delaware songs. So they kept it for us, so now we're coming back and they're sharing it with us. It's like our Paul's now, we're on our 39th year of Paul now. My kids have grown up in the culture and they would call their life. You heard my story. We start at 15, 18, 25. But for our kids, they've grown up in it all their lives. Now we just have to get that language in. The whole chunk of people said they're making fluent speakers on it, kids, because they're teaching them growing up. So it's possible. You start real little, we can make fluent speakers on it.